press the button.
Yay, buttons.
Button has been pressed. That was a good race earlier, I'm going to say.
That's good.
Yeah. Fix the volume real quick. Just on my end. No, we were talking after the stream just about like everything that happened like in the race wise. General idea was that it was going to be Cube and Slime who were going to be like neck and neck the entire time, and I was going to be the one trailing for the most part, which I was perfectly fine with, because I hadn't played Sonic Adventure 2 Battle in years, like literal years. So the fact that I got second place, and I was second by a minute and 15 seconds according to Doge, like that's pretty crazy, not gonna lie.
Not bad at all.
I was a little surprised that like Slime was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure if like if you had like the time to play, like if you played consistently till race happened, like it was a night and day difference. Played well.
That's good.
I think the only thing that messed me up is just the Sonic stages I'm notoriously bad at, and I think I really got shafted on Looking Thing, and that wasted 5 minutes, and that I think if I didn't have that diamond issue, like everything would have been just fine. Yeah, Sonic stages, Cube and Slime were doing really good with. The Eggman stages and Tail stages, I was rocking. I think my only other huge mistake, the final level was giving me some troubles, and I was rushing into Eggman. And one of the boss fights, Doge watching it had no idea what was going on. So he thought like I was just fucking around. But actively, like, I feel I got scammed by this boss fight so badly. I don't know if you've ever played Sonic Adventure 2 Battle.
No, I've never played a Sonic game.
Gotcha. There's a fight where you fight like it's essentially a guy in like a super high-tech like gunship is the best way to describe it. And all you have to do is hit him like a few times to actually like get him killed. It's pretty easy, all things considered. But for some reason, it would like keep counting that I was like getting hit when I was hitting the spot that it's supposed to be just like a free hit. And then two, it was just causing me to bounce away, and I've never had that happen to me before. So I was getting so frustrated because like this 30-second fight turned into 2.5 minutes. And I was convinced I was gonna be so dead last, which is why I'm a little like irked that I just barely got second. But at the same time, like it was so close. I'm very happy with being like a very close second. Especially being ahead like majority of the race.
Yeah.
I do want to do more races, but play more games. Problem is, Doge is very convinced for some reason that none of us will ever play like really the same games, so it's going to be near impossible again to get all four of us to play a game.
Mario Kart Wii.
So that's a Doge no, actually.
Really?
That's the thing. Like, with the four of us, for some reason, and I was going to call him out on this, but he's tired and he's been dealing with it like all day today. Like, they've been not having a good day. So I wasn't going to, like, push it. But he seemed convinced that the reason why we wouldn't be able to play, like, most games 4-player is purely because of me. Which I know that Cuban Slime interjected slightly, being like, what do you mean? Because Kit's going to say yes to nearly anything as long as we don't leave him behind.
Yeah.
Like, Peak got brought up, and I pointed out the fact it's not me that you'd have to convince to play. The only reason you'd have to convince me to play is because I would feel bad just running ahead, and I'm not the best team player. And it was pointed out that Doge would be the one to say no. Specifically because he gets left behind every time they play Peak.
Mm.
So yeah, I don't know why I was being thought of as like the person who would say no, because most of the time, like, we're able to like really piece it together. But also, like, Cube Slime and I always play like the same games together, and we're also all console gamers as well as PC. So it's not like difficult, I guess you can say.
Mm.
Is this okay. There we go. But since Doge refuses to play most console games, like, don't have like an easy way to be like, hey, you want to play games?
Mm.
And like most of the FPS games, like, I even said I'd play like Counter-Strike or Counter-Strike 2, I guess is what it is now. Just to learn how to get better at FPS games, which he said is not the right way to go about it. To which the response is, then what game would we do, and why not play that? I don't know, I think Doge is a very interesting person. And I'll say that till the end of time. Like, I don't think he realizes how much he contradicts himself. And it's funny, but it gets a little bit like, oh shit, I only have 27 guava berries? When the fuck did I just get low on those? Okay, whoops. He contradicts himself a lot. And it's not even like, just a little bit, like a little contradiction. No, it's always like a major one. And usually within like seconds of something he said. So for reference's sake, and he talked about it on stream, lately he's been playing RimWorld. Which is I don't know if you know what that is. Okay.
Hmm.
Do you know what RimWorld is?
I've heard the name.
It's like
Beyond that, no.
It's like a post-apocalyptic management sim, is the best way to put it. Regardless, he was talking to me about it, and he was just like, yeah, there's some games that like I'd be interested to see you play, like RimWorld and stuff, but like I would never play RimWorld.
Is it the one where all of the people look like Lego characters, just like round head?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, so I've seen someone play it, but they intentionally played it in the most asinine way possible.
That's fair.
So.
Sounds about right, honestly. Yeah, no, he was telling me how much he like wanted, like, he would watch people play it, but had no interest in playing it himself. And I'm like, yeah, that's fair. Motherfucker's been playing it for the past like 3 days. It's like, you very clearly said that you were not going to play it, and then immediately is like, I'm playing it now. I don't know. Like I said, I get confused by a lot of the things that he ends up doing. And I'm not trying to like shade him or anything. It's just more the fact that I'm like, can we go back to what you said? It sounds like the next game I want to work on is Midnight Murder Club, which we wanted to set extended invitation to you if you wanted to join for that.
I don't know what it is. My brain and me, even though it doesn't fit, my brain just put that to the tune of Pink Pony Club. Like, it doesn't work. It's
Fair.
so
It's
tired of it, so it's funny.
That's fair. It's you don't need to own the game because essentially one person buys it and the other 5 people just get like a free pass to play it. Hi, Derpy. It is essentially it's like a murder mystery-ish sort of game where you just kind of have to like, it seems like one person's like the murderer and you have to like solve the mystery of who it is, but also like discover who it is out of your group. But the problem is the 3 of us were describing completely different games when we were talking about it at the end of the stream. So I could be wrong. Doge, I think, is most definitely wrong. Cube might be right. Essentially, all of us are working together.
Unbox.
What's up?
We still need to do unboxing the Cryptic Killer.
We do. Once you're done with your subathon stuff, we can get there.
I'm working on it. We're sub 20 hours now. Good.
Yeah, but if you do a special, you're gonna be back to 2 days.
I'm not. I'm gonna have bonus goals mostly because I want my account unlimited. But other than that, I'm not going to be doing like double time or anything. There was the one chance for that. It was over. I'm done. I'm tired. I need days off.
I don't believe in days off. That's just because I'm Kit.
My family doesn't either because despite the fact that I've been very sick and consistently sleeping for 12 hours every day, they just kind of expected me to be on their schedule, so
Fair.
even while on vacation I was getting like 5 to 7 hours of sleep, which is not enough.
Derpy, why'd you type what in the dong? That was a noise to come back to? Did you just hear the dong in game? Did somebody just dong? I don't know. Hopefully there's not a dong on stream. That seems bad. I'm also slightly reading that as dog. And now it's reminding me the dong noise that sometimes happens when you transfer between areas in this game. It's weird. I showed Doge though the corgi baseball team that's 0-189. So I did not tell them that they're always losing. He was so happy to know that there's a corgi baseball team in Blue Archive. And I was like, that's good, buddy. Meanwhile, I'm just looking at the description. 0 wins, 189 losses. And I'm like, That's what do you throw in the towel at that point? When do you just say, I think we'll go for a good old 200 losses and then we'll move on with our lives. That's oh my gosh. I was going to do the story of Blue Archive today, but I haven't had the time. I did do some of my Persona dailies though today. That was good. It was so fucking funny on the Reddit. somebody posted being like, I'm so sad that you can't harem anybody in P5X. It's like what I want to do because I don't want to miss anything and so on and so forth. And I'm like, reading it, that's not true. You can 1000% harem the game. Wonder what they're doing wrong. I did figure it out. And then I think some of the commenters figured it out. The person that they were referring to, that they were trying to like start the harem like stuff for, their like dialogue that you have to choose to go into a relation with them is like really late in their conversation. Like extremely. What up, Ray? Ray, it's been far too long. How are you? Sorry, when the sushi shows up, we have to celebrate. It's a rarity. But yeah, no, my brain just flatlined. What was I talking about?
No idea.
No. Ray, you distracted me. Can't believe this. Let's just say passably okay. That's such a Neko answer, though. Which is also, in turn, a Ray answer. Derpy, you better be looking after her. Based on the fact that she's currently a COD with flaming hands, I think there's some concerns. My brain's tired. Luckily today was a short shift, even though my manager had to argue with me to send me on lunch when I pointed out the fact that she was sending me on lunch 35 minutes from when I had to clock out.
That's a choice.
There's like there's a big company complaining thing and just a whole bunch of like random shit that they keep bringing up. So like you have to make sure everyone has lunches. It's a law, this, that, and the other. I'm like, okay, I understand that. Problem is you literally have not given me any time to do anything or like to like go anywhere until now, and I leave in 35 minutes. Do you want me to go on lunch? And she's like, you have to. I'm like, cool. So I literally took lunch, threw up, and then left.
Why did you get sick?
I get sick after I eat like all the time. It's just what happens. She was like, can you call this one person real quick? And I'll be like, give me 1 second. Barfed. And then I was like, came back and I'm like, all right, let's call this person. You must eat. Yeah, I had some Jersey Mike's. It was good. I had to, how do I even put this? I weirdly enough made a Jersey Mike's Employees Day. They all know me by name now over at that, the local one here. Just because I'd go there so often. I'm super friendly with them and I help them out. But there was like, there's one person working there who like, she has her own gist of just like, oh, and just make sure, you know, napkins, lids, and straws are all over here. And there was a time where like it was a rush. I was like the last customer in line, and I'm watching her say that, and I look at the person, look at the napkins, and it's like 3 people in a row who look at the napkins, have some like deep inner monologue or some shit. It's like they're just staring at it like forlornly, and then just decide no napkins and walk out. Like, why does it look like these people are going through like the trials and tribulations on why they need napkins? It was the strangest thing. So like She's just like, yeah, I just want to make sure, you know, people, you know, aren't just like wiping their food off on their like shirt or anything. I'm like, yeah, makes sense. So just to help out, I will grab a napkin. I'll grab 10 napkins. And weirdly enough, she got really excited for that, and I was like, okay, well, happy to help. Question: I don't think me grabbing all these napkins should help. Hi, Blossy.
Bossy, hello.
Tried to seduce the napkins. It's a once-a-day interaction, so they left. It's like a Persona social link. They try to talk to the napkins. It doesn't work. This is actually their like 6th day of trying. I don't know. It was a weird interaction. No, like most of the food I've been eating lately, I've been like just go straight back up. The pizza though that Doge got me, my manager was convinced I was gonna get food poisoning, and she was like, I would say don't eat the pizza because you're probably not gonna come into work tomorrow. And I was like, okay, first off, my food poisoning that I keep getting, or like me getting sick from eating, just happens randomly. Just, we're not gonna question it. Secondly, I'm gonna have to show up anyway if I'm sick or not. Sorry, Neko heard me rant about work for the past like 20 minutes before the stream started. I did eat the pizza, and I did accidentally call Doge Dad when ordering the pizza. And then I watched him misspell the word son twice, or once, excuse me, but he did it. He meant to change it twice. Neko's gonna fall asleep in this call. This is the question where we try to get sparks in and then rile up sparks to make loud noises. Welcome to our lives. Over here, rant for maybe an hour twice a day. Oh, good morning. Welcome back to the land of awake briefly. You do have at least 2 tickets though to go back to sleep, so like up to you and how you use those. You go sleep in a comfy place? Yeah, no, my Discord server is not the place to fall asleep in. Cheese is there. You know what cheese does? Nothing. No, a lot of my stuff lately has just been me ranting about work. Because if like today's interactions were an indication, it was a lot of me like... Full Send was just so ready to walk out today. I need the money. Badly. I also may have spent some money today on something that Neko convinced me of. Work, family, car stuff today. Ray, you and I can go back and forth on all of the crazy stuff. Is it the Yui? I don't know what you're talking about. Soma Cruz is back in the Dead by Daylight store. And so is True Demon Lord Dracula. So I had to get both of them because Soma Cruz is bar none my favorite Castlevania character. Yeah, no, all the Castlevania skins are now in there, and it looks like it's permanent. So Why am I getting bonked? What did I do? Oh, we bunked the bot. Okay. I thought I was getting bonked. I've trauma from getting bonked from multiple people. It's crazy. I'm safe for now. Yeah, I figured as much. Close enough. Son of a bitch, dude. Dude, that Piplup fucking booked it. That Piplup was like, I don't want any of this. Just fucking left. Now, Ray, I know you and I would just like rant about work stuff for like hours upon end. I'd have to like steal you from Derpy for a day just to like catch up on all the work bullshit that's going on. Brain cells are hard to come by. All I'll say is the gist of my rage today and just being defeated is I've worked my butt off for the past few days to get things like in order, making sure that like calls were done and getting all this work done. And somebody comes back and gives up after like an hour. And I'm just sitting there, just dumbfounded. I think it would be better if their like personal life got a whole lot better, but I know it's rough. But there's nothing I can do about that. Also, so I have like a work story, but I can't exactly talk too much about it. Not even just because of like, you know, being protective like information and everything, but just of like the situation itself was so mind-bogglingly wild that I just like I obviously don't go into specifics and I abide by like the laws and all that sort of stuff. But there was one person today who the person who I was talking with on the phone needed to shut the fuck up. Like, just to put it nicely. They were really nice, they were really sweet, and like, you know, like it wasn't like a painful phone call, it wasn't like a bad phone call. Like, it was just, needed to talk to them to get some stuff taken care of. Pretty fucking simple shit. They did not need to tell me all of the stuff that I did not need to know and insinuate all the stuff that I definitely did not need to know. And I just felt so bad afterwards. Okay, just like I have something put on Wednesdays only to work with her. Gossip's like the fucking worst. Gossip is just, I know I kind of like I pseudo do it because of streams and everything. I just want, one, I want to find a job where I actually feel appreciated, but two, like, just want people to like do their job so we can move on with life. Yeah, Ray's like the nicest person, so anybody who tries to like shit talk Ray, we're beating him up. Sparks will get, your adopted son Sparks will get the duck army. Neko's got the cats. I got like 3 sheeples. I'll have to get them on loan from Cassie, so it's fine. Cassie will understand. So, yes and no, Blossy. One day, being super stubborn, my method is not as mean stuff. Yeah. So when it comes to like drama, just to answer what Blossy said, when it comes to like that sort of stuff, like after high school and college is incredibly like petty and like really dumb drama that happens. But like there's like a ridiculous amount when it comes to high school and college. And college gets exacerbated because people will then go to drunk parties and X will have sex with Y, and that'll be the talk of the general section of the school for a bit, and then other people will plan this party, and at least that's how ASU was. So like there's all that sort of stuff. There's Kit the fumbler. I just remembered Blossy way back when was talking about the Mormon girl I fumbled. I was trying to remember who that was. It just clicked after talking about college who you're referring to, and now I'm caught up. Blossy keeps track of my fumbles more than I do. But work. They don't have the outburst. Couldn't shower. Yeah, I get you, right? When it comes to workplace drama, there's some people who are just real pieces of shit who they will just keep drama. They'll like keep the drama going, like they'll miss it from like college and high school and they'll just bring it in the workplace. There's some people who they don't understand the concept of drama and they just bring their woes into work, and that's what causes like the drama and the stress. Me, the reason you hear about it a lot is I just have the worst luck. Me and a patient talked about it recently where they sincerely wanted to know how many jobs I've had, which how many jobs have I had? Six. 13, 14? I don't know, I think I told them 12. It's higher than 10 is what the actual like gist is. And they're like, you're really young. They're like, why do you have so many jobs? And I just full told them. I was just like, honestly, luck of the draw for me is just terrible. I keep finding jobs that either I get removed from. Sorry, let's back this up. Either the job doesn't exist anymore and I have to essentially leave the job, or the company is about to go under, or I get treated terribly, or somebody tries to get me fired and I just have to leave to prevent any further damage. One of my coworkers actually asked why, like what was the hardest thing I had to do when I was an office manager before I was a surgery scheduler. And I talked about one employee who tried to completely slander my name and say that not only was I trying to take her job, but I was like doing like awful things to her, and her just did not want anywhere near, to which her friend told the CEO of the company who she told it to, I guess HR, because that was the same person. Unfortunately, the office was small when I started off there, but she told them, and then the friend was like, this person's saying bullshit. Kit is a very nice person and didn't do that at all. And they did an investigation and found that she just had this false belief that I was just going to steal her job and just hire somebody else to do her job, even though she was fantastic in her position. And that is the second time that somebody's tried doing that to me, so I just shrugged my shoulders. Honestly, after that second time, I really was like, am I doing something accidentally that's constituting this? Like, the first time, I knew the person just had a vendetta against me and just wanted me to just suffer. I didn't do that part. But the second one, I was like, I didn't do anything wrong. I was just being nice. I'm just trying to like have a conversation and chat. Like, what the fuck? Like maybe I like looked at her wrong or something. Like maybe it just like I accidentally like brush aside her, like bump in like the hallway. Like what did I do? The answer is always nothing. It's just it really fucks up your mental though. Like I tell you what, it really does fuck up your mental. Because like imagine if somebody like actually did that, then they're a piece of shit and they probably don't care. They're like, ah, whatever. But for me, where I actively didn't do anything, I was just trying to be like a good worker and help them out. Like, I just get incredibly scared of like, what the fuck? Like, what? About things. Where am I at with this game in terms of story? I've already finished all the story, Derpy. So I've done all of the main story. So I've already like ended the main story, and then post game I already did all the quests. I already faced off the guy with Giratina, got Arceus. Literally all I'm doing is like a really insane post side thing. That is, yeah. Yeah, I've perfected the Pokedex. Like everything has been perfected. For the love of the game. We can talk about that actually in a moment, Blossom. For like a few seconds here. Tone of voice. Ray, there's times where you just sound like you're a bundle of energy, and then there's times where you sound like you just hate life and just want everyone to just be cursed. There's no in between. But then again, I don't talk to you nearly as much anymore, which is sad because I like talking with you, Ray, and also Derpy and Blossy and Echo. I love talking with all of y'all. Remember the times in Blaze's server when you would just chat and people would just lose their shit. It was great. Also, why did I describe it so accurately? I don't know. I'm pressing all of the wrong buttons. Holy shit. Like once, like at a 0 at the end, Blossy. No, what I was gonna say with what Blossy said about my love for this game, I haven't really talked about what I thought about this game at all. Like I haven't really gone over any of that. Weirdly enough. 2 energy modes. That's fair. So here's the thing. I actually really like Legends Arceus. I think this game is fantastic. I really enjoyed the story. I love the fact that you just catch a bunch of Pokemon. You don't battle too much, and battles are kind of not my favorite part of Pokemon. And like the story overall, I think is fairly decent. Yes, there is, from what I understand, and I have to say from what I understand, because I didn't have trouble, but I also played the game vastly different from everyone else. I understand that like the main story is pretty simple, but then when you get to the post-game story with like Volo and all that sort of stuff, the game gets really hard with how all of the fights go and the battles and the insane boss fight that you have to essentially fight twice if you want to win. Like there is some intense stuff, See, I'm somebody who just hates the battles for the most part. Just because, like, as much as I do like strategy, I've always been afraid of like super competitive battles. So I just enjoy like the piecing together like a team and coming up with like a decent way to go about things. I personally like the catching, but once again, it's to each their own, right? And I mostly play Pokemon for like story reasons, as well as just like wanting to create a core team, right? Shiny hunting, don't give two shits about. The post game stuff, I actually do really like, and I do like the concept of the Path of Solitude because the puzzle battles are more up to my speed rather than like actual stuff. That being said, I had an easy time fighting Volo because all of my Pokemon were level 100 that was in my core team. Or like they were like high 90s, like 100 sort of thing. So pretty much I just kind of had like an easy clean sweep and didn't have to think too much of it. But other people like really struggle. And that's fair. Some people like really do not like just the fact that you have to just keep catching and catching and catching. I know I understand I'm the outlier in that, where I really do enjoy the catching aspect of it. I wouldn't be doing this sort of grind if I didn't enjoy it. Which I don't like the shiny hunt stuff. Like, let's be real. I'm doing this only for like video purposes. But when I was playing through this game and catching everything repeatedly and releasing and perfecting the decks, I personally had a really fun time. But I know it's not everyone's cup of tea. So, yeah, that's my general thoughts on the game. As for voices, Derpy, you sound tired all the time, but like when something piques your interest or gets you like riled up, then you start like you break out of the monotone voice and you just hit all the different like ranges of notes. But it's usually just like, wake up, Derpy, monotone for like 30 minutes, and then we're going to talk about something or play something that Derpy is really passionate about, and all of a sudden you just get the different forms of Derpy. So hey Bossy, you got the southern drawl, and you got the sass that even Cassie is afraid of, so good for you. You can't beat Neko sass, but like Cassie sass is pretty good. Derpy, that's what I do. You still, yeah, no, I've heard some Derpy stories of back in the day of getting really agitated. You still get mad, but like I think you concede the point faster than you did in the past. If you're talking about complete shutdown and just like full depression after an anger bit, that's me most times playing Dead by Daylight. It's the reason why Neko has to keep checking after we play, because something just puts me over the edge that is never Neko's fault. It's always somebody else. Not really hard to figure that one out. And then I just have to completely shut down. I just always say that I hate everyone that I'm not friends with equally, and that's it. Yeah, and I've noticed that, Derpy, but I think, and this might be just me being like focusing on myself. I feel like if once I respond to also anger, or I have to like calm down somebody with like very like curt words, then you feel more like kind of expressive and you don't really shut down. You just kind of like go back to regular talking shortly afterwards. Ray's a good influence on you. We both are really good influences on each other. I hereby nominate Blossy as y'all's wedding planner, and you both will be in fantastic hands, I assure you. Also, good job at earning the job, Blossy. Proud of you. This is the point where Blossy's just gonna type "I got you" in like capital letters. I think anybody who plays League is like most those days are gonna be their worst. I remember I upset my high school friends when they tried to get me to play League, and I didn't even try to play the game. I just had no motivation to. You dodged a fucking bullet, yeah. No, they said that they would play a game that I would play if I played League for them for one match. And they had no stipulations. They didn't even say I had to try. So I randomly picked a character. Don't even remember who the fuck I picked. I just know I randomly picked a character, went to the wrong lane, and then just stood there dying. They're like, you need to try, and I'm like, you didn't tell me I needed to try to do this. You said to play the game with you. I have no interest in playing this shitty ass game. I'm going to just stand here and die, wipe the team, get banned, and then move on. And I didn't get banned, but I did get reported. Here's the thing with DBD, okay? So sorry, taking a drink of some Mountain Dew, but I would like to quell the stigma for DBD, okay? And I want to talk about why I play DBD, not just like the content side of things or anything like that, but like why I played it, okay? So I got into DBD the OG alpha. A friend, one of the Michaels in my friend group, for those who don't know, my high school friend group was 3 Michaels and Kit. So one of the Michaels, they found the game because we were playing Payday the Heist together and said, hey, this looks like a fun game we should try. I got access to the alpha. I'll send you all the link and then we can all play the alpha together. Yes, I did play fucking G DBD with the weird running and like different with perks and everything. Like we played the shit out of the alpha, and it was really cool too because like so obviously it didn't fully equate, but essentially when you had the link, it was a picture of, if I recall correctly, Dwight on a hook. And when you sent it to somebody, you actually unhooked them. And you had to unhook them 3 times in order to quote-unquote save them for it to all be in the alpha. And obviously, since there were 3 Michaels in a kit, there's 4 of us. So we got in. When we first played Dead by Daylight, this is gonna shock y'all. So they had like kind of perks in the game, but I don't remember too much of how all of like the perks and stuff worked. And the reason I'm saying that is because the Michaels and I all refused to play the game with perks. Straight up, we all agreed that we would never equip any perks and we would never play the game with perks. We had to if you were the killer, if you were the killer, you were using your abilities, and if you were the survivor, you had to figure out how to play survivor. There were, you know, you couldn't use resilience, you couldn't use spine chill, nothing of that sort. You had to just play the game to the best of your ability. And we had an incredible time. We did figure out really quickly, right, if like because back in the day, if you used a toolbox and a hook, that and saboed the hook, the toolbox was gone. So by the time we did, like, we tried to all group up together to try to do public games, but it didn't exactly work out. This doesn't bode well. Not entirely. This bodes poorly. Give me like 2 seconds, chat, and I'll explain. It's funny that I need these penguins. Also, yeah, the spin maneuver is amusing. Sweet. Oh, good. Okay. Sorry, I had to focus there. So with DBD, we didn't really do too many public games. We really just played with amongst ourselves, and we didn't have a fourth person to play Survivor. So we just did 3 survivors ourselves. There was no real looping. Bear traps are terrifying. We were all scared to play against the Wraith. Even to this day, we all said that Hillbilly was a fucking joke to play against. But we had a wonderful time, like, not playing with any perks, because we thought it was cheating. When it came to, like, sabotaging the hooks and everything like that, that one we also said was cheating, so we refused to, like, do that. I don't remember if, oh, you know, this works, I suppose. Yeah, we refused to, like, play by the rules of the game. But it was, like, a great time. And I do actually have very fond memories of, like, the alpha playing. And then we did used to play, like, a little bit every now and again when, like, the doctor released, the nurse released, and so on and so forth. That all being said, why are you so brutal? Well, I'm not gonna fucking focus on these guys. Sorry, this is pseudo important. Why? Dude, the Huas just don't want to be here. Crazy. Well, Holy hell. Alright, cool. Well, we'll just check the trees and everything. Better. I wouldn't play League like ever again. DBD, I wish the olden days. I miss the olden days. I know some people are like, that's stupid to say because like old GBD was even more broken and terrible than it is currently. And like, I'm not saying that old DBD needs to come back or from it. I think like the current like updates and everything with the game is way better than it was back then. I just mean like the times I played with friends where we just all said that perks were cheating and we just never played with perks, or we said that like items were cheating and we never played with items. And there was that real fear whenever like you couldn't see the Wraith's shimmer at all. Like you couldn't see the Wraith's shimmer. So like when Wraith all of a sudden showed up behind you, it was the scariest fucking thing whenever that happened. You know, you hear the chainsaw for Hillbilly, you didn't care. There was so much like fun times back then, which is why I think a lot of people say that they want the old Dead by Daylight back. I don't think they more or less want the old Dead by Daylight back itself. I think they just want those memories back of like what it was way back in the day. And you really can't translate that to the current status of Dead by Daylight. You could, sure, do no perks for like a Dead by Daylight run. But then you have to you're doing like a custom lobby where you're not really getting anything in that case. And you know, it's not entirely super fun unless you're going up against somebody else, and then it's somebody you don't know, maybe who playing killer with no perks. I do agree that updates are necessary and very much needed for a game to stay healthy. But people who are saying that Dead by Daylight needs to go back to how it once was, I think is factually incorrect. I think people just more want to relive the memories. And frankly, that's kind of how a lot of games are nowadays. I was thinking about this when we were talking the last time about comparing like shiny Pokemon to gacha costumes. Like, oh, if Kit spends money on the Rappy Red Hood costume, right? What's the difference between spending money for a gacha costume and then spending like 10 hours of your life trying to get a shiny? And my counterpoint, of course, being like, well, time you're never going to get back, money you can just work your butt off to get back and such. But there was a little voice inside my head that was like, oh, if you end up buying something and you feel that happiness, right? You feel that joy well up within inside your soul that you got it, that's going to stick with you. Sure, 10 years down the line, you might be like, man, that might have been a waste of money. But that's 10 years later, you might feel like it's a waste of money. But at the time, that memory or just that joy that you felt really does make a difference. And I thought about this because, you know, Cheese asked semi-recently if I regret playing Genshin. I'm pretty sure it was Cheese who asked, right? This might have been a more private conversation. And I had to think about it because, like, I know I spent a whole bunch of money. Part of my debt is because of me wanting to make Genshin content and never really going anywhere because I just didn't have the confidence with editing. And once again, huge shoutouts to Derpy for offering to help me out with editing nowadays. But back then, like, there was so much content I want to make on Genshin, talking about the lore and going over everything, that I never got to do because I just didn't have the capabilities.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome back, by the way. Either that's you subconsciously saying or you're just sleeping.
In and out. That's fine, don't worry about it.
Okay. No, so
I don't think I talk in my sleep.
That's fair. I think we talked about it on stream too, Chippy. Yeah, I probably did. I just, at the end of the day, I don't ever regret playing Genshin well, right now, my crippling debt regrets spending money on Genshin and everything. The joy that I had playing Genshin up until, um, the fucking grass. I don't remember the place. It's the one after. One where the grass Archon is. I can't remember their names anymore. Like I had so many good memories, and the events were so much fun, and the fact that I like was so proud of being like one of the first like US max ranks, which means nothing. Let's just be real. Day and night, that means holy fuck, means nothing. Don't just jump off a cliff, Kit. That was not a good idea. But yeah, like it was so nice to be like super excited that I got HR60, and like I was looking at other streamer streams and they were like, no, I'm like AR59, like even though I spend money, I don't do the stamina thing. And I'm just like, okay. And then I find one and it's like, oh, it's a Japanese player. Okay, no, we're good. And then, you know, we find like, I think we found one other US player that got to like AR60 or HR60. AR60, adventure rank, excuse me. And I was like, oh man, I gotta be probably top 5, like players. Like maybe I don't have like all the constellations maxed out, sure, but like I hit the max rank. And I remember being so excited about that. Heck, Doge even like, I guess Ali knows a little bit about Genshin. And I think he said that he even was like super proud to know. He's like, I know the guy who was like one of the first to get like AR 50 or 60 in Genshin. And I just, hold on. Excuse me, coughing. It was like a huge accomplishment to me because I never was like any of like the top ranks in anything. And even though like I'm terrible at team building, and even as Spring and TDL and my Nikkei union tell me how terrible I am with team building, even though my levels are far exceed theirs, my team building remains to be good. That was the same thing with Genshin. I still felt really proud about that. I still had a lot of fun. And like the Inazuma arc, I remember that. Sky Reel, like that. It sticks with you, and I don't regret, like, I will say I don't regret the memories that I have from playing Genshin. My wallet regrets spending money on Genshin, sure. But I know at that point in time, I did not regret buying like the extra costumes or like spending some money to get the characters. And same thing is going to be the case with Nikkei. All the money I spent for like battle passes, for the costumes, I made sure that it's all from my savings because I'm an idiot. But at least it's not like from like actual bill money. I'm still going to say at the end of the day that like stuff I've spent for Nikkei has made me like really happy in seeing that. Yeah, and there's some people who like, you know, there's some people who, you know, will like be like, yeah, no, I'm a Leviathan, I'm gonna spend like thousands of dollars and I'll be the first person in the world to do this or something. And good for them. Could never do that. I would like to save money to get myself out of debt first before I do anything like that, right? But yeah, there's... So what does it mean with like... Why am I bringing this up like right now, and why am I talking about it in relation to Shinies too? this is a really weird loop around point of why Kit doesn't like shiny Pokemon, but why I'll still defend like the craziness of gotcha costumes and stuff like that. This one can be a Cherim, right? No, this one just can never be. Got it. What's the satisfaction level you feel when getting a shiny compared to when you spend the money for a gotcha game or a costume or something like that? Is like the question that was like ringing through my head. For me, catching a shiny, if I was younger, I'd be in awe for 5-10 minutes, and then I would probably have moved on to something else. Nowadays, I literally don't care. But there's some people who, you know, they'll spend hours and hours, they'll be really excited, and in the moment, they'll be really happy that they got the shiny. But do they feel fulfilled, or do they feel like the happiness still permeating afterwards? They might be fine that they're happy in the time, but what about the 10 hours that got there, right? Did you feel happy working through those 10 hours to get to that shiny? And I would wager that like most people would be like, no, I only felt the happiness right at the last mark. And it's a question of, do you place your happiness or the joy that you're feeling on the time, like the full journey, or do you place it on the moment that you get it? For me, it's not about the journey in the case of shiny Pokemon, it's about when I get it. Compared to when you spend the money for like a gotcha costume or something, that joy not only is just right then, but if it's a character you use or really you're passionate about, you keep with it. That's why you buy it. Yeah. And it definitely does become commonplace with a lot of skins, but this is going to be the weirdest comparison you're ever going to hear on any sort of stream ever. Welcome to the Kit stream. This is just a completely normal conversation. Congratulations. I'm going to compare the Rappy Red Hood gotcha outfit to getting like a shiny Zorua. Okay? So my favorite Pokemon, shiny, and probably one of my favorite outfits on Nikkei. Okay? For the Rappy Red Hood outfit, for those who don't know, it's a summer outfit. Incredibly gooning G-Gen. You know, we can make the jokes for a long period of time. I'm pretty sure I saved, so cool. We don't need to worry about this. The grind it took to get to the shiny Zorua. Like, yeah, I was grinding it amongst like other shinies, but still took long, and it still just was like meh every time we like saw just a regular one. And then when we did finally see the shiny, we're like, oh, okay, cool. But let's be real, it's just in my box. It's probably going to be there for a minute. I might use it on a team because it's my favorite Pokemon later, but not really for this game. So maybe I felt the joy, like it, I would say it's probably an easy like 30 hours or so from getting both those shiny Zorua and Zoroark. And I probably only felt joy in like the brief stint when I got it. But then I openly was like, well, they're not going to really be used other than this Path of Solitude, so we'll see what happens. The Rappy Red Hood skin cost $60. Let's start with that. At the time, my wallet probably not the happiest with me for doing that. But Rappy Red Hood is a character I use all the time, is a fantastic character lore-wise, is a fantastic character concept-wise, and, you know, using them in fight, great. Doing the fun interactions with the character and seeing like the new voice lines and everything, great. I'm still enjoying, and I'm not even saying this in like a degen sort of way, I'm just straight up like the cool voice lines of just her interacting with the commander. Fantastic. She's still my background in one of the lobbies, the five of them. Like, I don't know, I enjoy that a whole lot more than the shinies, but it's a weird comparison to make. same way when Platinum's grounded, then maybe Advanced Warfare that I don't give a fuck with trying for them. I want to like 100% everything. Derpy, so. Lots to do, lots to do. I didn't even realize that guy was standing there. Cool. Sorry, my brain is in all sorts of different directions. It's a mix of being tired and just being stressed out by stuff, so it's fine. Switching gears and conversation wise, I really was like excited for to get started on content stuff. Like the fact that like the Google Drive and stuff is working derpy and like the editing software is working. God, I felt so like breath of fresh air. Especially at work today, like realizing everything that's going on at work, realizing that my time there is becoming more and more limited as time goes on. Like, I'm so motivated to get shit done. I was supposed to try to be in a call with you earlier today, Derpy, about like kind of talking about what like the general idea is and kind of making a game plan with you. A mix of me falling asleep and then also having to stay a little bit later at work. Kind of attributed to that. I'm trying to get the games I truly love, yeah. Yeah, there's... Yeah, Blaze! Just everyone's here. Crazy. What's up, Blaze? How are you doing? This is one of the best Pokemon games? I do agree. We were just talking about that. Top 3? I would say it. Like, I do really enjoy this game compared to others. But once again, I'm not a battler in this game, so that would be why. There's Ray and Ray. All the Rays. Gosh, it was good to be in your stream the other day, Blaze. I try to pop in on at least the games that I know, and I haven't been watching some of the games that I want to play in the future. Like I know you've been playing Mafia, and there's Liza Pi. That, like I see that you play, and I'm like, oh man, Blaze is playing that, but I also want to play it, so I don't want to be like spoiled on it. Crap, and I don't watch, but oh man, Ed, you've been killing it lately. You've been doing great. Blaze, there's a lot of games I need to play. There's so many games I need to play. I just have to... just need to get the time. Where's the Huaz? He's one of you. Are you 100% in this game? Yes? Ish? Technically, the only thing I need to do is one of the side modes. But to challenge myself even further, we decided to get every single, like, shiny Pokemon to do the side mode. Just because I still have to, like, level them all up to level 80. So we are, I think, at least in this game, 7 unique Pokemon, and not including the Pokemon that, like, Derpy and Sparks are going to help me get. So... Like Elden Ring? I still need to play Elden Ring. Also, I did... Is that tree shaking? It is. I did lurk after you started to play Umama Sume after P5X. It was hype. I wish I didn't play other gacha games because maybe I'd play that one. But then it would be... Do I still work at the dentist's office? I do. Probably not for much longer, but I do. You're in an ad? Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, Umama Sume I've heard is great. Pretty sure Ray can go over all of what that is, what's good about it. But yeah, I do. I feel like it's just more Persona 5. That's true. The first, like, I can go on about P5X for quite some time. Cheese and I talked about it all yesterday. Because, like, knowing the development cycle of the Chinese version compared to the global version, we're gonna see some like rough stuff until the third palace. So that is what it is. No, what I was saying though is yes, I still work at the dental office, but probably not for much longer. Umama Sume seems great. I just, as someone who used to love horses a whole bunch, and then found out that he's definitely allergic to it, or horses, and now there's a game about horse girls. And I know that I'm the guy who would go to like the arcades and play the horse derby game at like Dave and Buster's for like hours on end. My wallet I don't think can handle Umama Sume, so I need to hold off on that. Do I like P5X? Yes. I think that the game is fantastic. I think the game, you absolutely need to play through it at a very slow pace. You do not need to rush through it. Global, you might want to focus a little bit on going a little bit faster, but for the most part, you can just go through it pretty steadily and just have a good time. The social links are great. The interactions between characters are great. I actually currently have been enjoying this round of like the Phantom Thieves compared to the original ones. So there's why the slow pace. So I think I mentioned it in your stream when you were playing it, but the palaces are long, and I mean really long, to the point where in the Chinese player base they want you to go through it really slow, so that way you can just like slowly go through the palaces, slowly gear up your characters, so that way you can take on the boss at the end and all the craziness that the bosses are. And then the second palace is even longer. Problem is that most of the global player base decided to speed through the palaces, so now you have the developers like, why are all these like global players saying that they're done with the palace? Like, they should still be like taking their time to get through it. What do you mean that they got through it this fast? Yeah, and if you want to even like 100% the map and do all of that, like it does take a long time, so you do need to just take it slow and just slowly build up your other characters, find the ones that you want to use and slowly build them up. You do not need to rush it. Problem is, everyone wants to rush it. Is that why it's getting negative reviews? Not necessarily. The reason why it's getting negative reviews, I'm going to pause just so I can like kind of remember how this was. There is a big contrast between what the global version had and what the Chinese and Taiwanese server had. Global was getting everything at a faster rate, but like, yeah, the rewards that were being received were like minimal. We didn't have that much time to do events. Banners are being pushed together and not like stuff that we're supposed to have in the standard banner is not showing up for like maybe another year or so. There's a whole lot of like issues. Then there's also the rates, where the rates on the CN servers are significantly better than US and global. So it's just a headache back and forth. And yeah, the speedy schedule is what's going on. They did fix a lot of that very recently. It seems like, according to Cheese and I, at least with our rates, it seems to be a lot better, because normally you would have to hit pity to get any 5-star, is what it felt like. And now you actually can do like maybe 20 or 30 rolls and you have a decent chance at getting a 5-star. But the other thing though is obviously a lot of like the global player base is making fun of the first palace shadow, the ruler rather. And from what I understand, from what I've like researched on the game, the first two stories were written by like a Chinese writer, like not the main scenario writer for Persona 5 are and Persona 5. It was written by another team. They were just taking what they've heard how Persona was like in Japan and just doing their own spin on that. And then the lead writer for Persona 5R finally took over writing from the third palace onward. So essentially you have to get through a pretty shitty story to be honest, except for the side stories like the synergies or social links. They're really good. But the main story is kind of meh until when the third palace releases, and then it's going to be a way better story. There are 2 palaces currently. There's 2 palaces, and there's planned to be I think there's 4 right now in excuse me. In China, there's 4 palaces. In global, there's currently 2. No, you can see, Ray, you can see that there's 3 that there's 4 palaces like there, but that's just like leftover from the Chinese server, where it's like they're on their way, but that's how much they have. I think if you do really like Persona, and especially Persona 5, it's a good game to like hold you over until more mainline Persona content comes out. I don't recommend spending money on the game. Just take your time through it, as Persona 5 always likes to remind you. And if you don't get a, I thought that tree shook. If you don't get a character like right off the bat from like one of the current banners, that's fair. If you don't get a character from like one of the banners, they have confirmed that they are doing a lot of reruns for the characters. Yeah. No, I would highly recommend taking it very slow. How long are the palaces? What up, Bello-kun? I would say, so if you really want to rush through it and like do the palaces, thank you so much for the subscription over on YouTube. Appreciate that. That alert I can hear, but the other ones earlier today I couldn't. Crazy. If you rush through it and try not to 100%, I would say 8 to 10 hours for the first palace, and probably around 12-ish hours for the second. that would be what my like rough estimate is. I'm guessing someone's green. Someone green? Interesting. Yeah, 8 to 10 hours for the first one. I was confused if I should be focusing on the palace. You don't need to. That's the thing. You definitely do not need to. Give me 1 second. Is it you? I think it is you. Yeah, it is. Do I really want you? This is... There we go. That's a lot of content playing the game on and off. Yeah. So there we go. Cool. Alright, I need to fly over here real quick. Hopefully I can make it to the Piplups in time. Hurry. Yeah, so the palaces will like take a lot of your time. You don't need to rush through them. The only reason you would need to rush through them is if you want to like get the synergies like unlocked ASAP. But I would take your time with the synergies that you have and just go from there. Like don't try to push yourself to go through the synergies like as fast as possible. You're gonna be, if you want to max out the synergies, you are going to need a lot of yen in game. And I mean a lot of yen. So it's just better to like... It's better to take it slow than to like rush through it. I was talking with Cheese about it yesterday, where like for the late game maxing out the synergies, you need like 79k yen in game. Buy the best item to give them if you want to get through it like at a decent rate. Oh, this is awkward. Ow. Ow. Give me like 2 seconds and I'll talk more about things. Jesus Christ. Stop. This is crazy. These are some angry fucking penguins. Holy shit. It's dodging like a goddamn pro. He did for a moment. Yeah, no, they are loud. Once they're alpha, they are loud as shit. Holy fuck. Okay. Damn. That was crazy. Anyway. What was I talking about? So if you don't focus on the palace, so sorry, let's talk about P5X, because like I said, I don't really care too much about the shiny Pokemon aspect here. We're just here to talk about whatever comes to mind. So for P5X, 5X takes place in an alternate universe, but in the same area as P5, Vanilla, and R. P5R follows the Phantom Thieves. P5X just follows a different guy, still in the same area, but as if the other Phantom Thieves weren't there. That's just the general gist. It has its own unique story and is completely separate from P5R. You do not need to play one game to understand the other. And if you do want to know about P5R's story or P5 Vanilla's story, When you play through the palaces, if you do 100% the palaces, you do get some cutscenes from the official anime essentially going over what the story is. So, just if you really, really want to. If you have P5R, I recommend playing through that, just because I do think it's a great game. Very slow to start, but it gets better. If you want to play a free version of the game and have your own enjoyment with it and have a whole bunch of different characters, then P5X will fill that niche. The thing with P5X is understand you have to go through the game slow. If you do want to try to like top the charts and be on top of the rankings and everything, go ahead and spend the money for that, sure. But you don't need to. You can easily, and I've learned this really quickly with playing through the game when I first started playing it, you can just make a team out of the 4 stars and you can just run for miles. Sure, you can save up and roll for the characters that you want to get. The Reddit is a good place for telling you what sort of upcoming characters are good for like meta reasons. But truthfully, just pull for the characters that you enjoy, because personally, I would say every single character is viable. The first character, just for complete transparency's sake, Mont or Katone, the ice girl that you get in the tutorial, like when you're first pulling the idol banners, just to show how it works. I have her maxed out. She's actually my first and only maxed out character in P5X. According to Luffle.net, which is the like the meta websites that like goes over all like the meta stats and like team building and everything, she is the worst character according to that website. By far. It's not even close. But I have her maxed out and she's wiping the floor with most of the like side content that I'm doing right now. Like, she's really good. There's other characters that you're going to see that are like, oh man, I really like this character that I've like met through a synergy, or I see them in somebody else's synergy. Man, I really want to, like, I want to use them. Oh, they're this character. Cool, let me max them out. You can always put them in a viable team. And that's actually what I personally really like about P5X is like, as far as I know, the only character I've not been able to figure out a viable team is the fisherman dude. But he's weird, and I haven't met him in the story yet, so like that's fine. But every other character I fully believe can have like a main, like an actual team. It's due to how you can't really bring her attack damage as high as other characters. Yeah, and I get that in a meta sense, but she's still super strong on my just pure ice team. And even like I could use Leo and Tomoko to just buff her, and she sweeps through like all of the ice bosses with like little issue if I do that. And the other 2 characters I just mentioned, they're also all 4 stars. So like you don't need to breeze through it. Now, yes, I did breeze through the first palace, and the second palace I did take a little bit of time on, but I being honest here, I do regret doing that. Specifically because it was just like the period did some yeah, they do that with Nikkei quite a bit. But anywho. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought. When you're doing, so in, how do I put this? Sorry. In P5X, you have your action points, right? So you have stamina to use to do like the dungeons, to grind for materials, to level up your phantom idols and the various phantom thieves. And then you have like the action points, right? To use for like going around town and doing like part-time jobs, leveling your social stats. Big thing, focus on getting yen, because you're going to need yen to buy gifts and seeds and everything. And that is going to be way more important than like just constantly bringing up stats. Um, sure, as time goes, if you do more of the palaces, you will unlock more synergies and more like things to do. But you're then gonna just overwhelm yourself on everything that you need to do, and you're gonna feel like you're gonna constantly need to be up on everything. Just literally take your time with it, go through it slowly, use your action points, maybe start accumulating money as you go. I would recommend at least trying to just like get through the first palace at a reasonable pace. Don't need to rush through the second. Really, really don't need to rush through the second. P5X is single player. Why would meta matter in a single player game? Ranking system. There are two quote unquote endgame pieces of content that have a ranking system. One has to do with the Campanio, which is like an in-game alliance. But really, as long as you do enough damage to that boss, like you'll get pretty good rewards regardless. And then the second is a series of trials that you just move up in the ranks and you'll get like additional bonuses for scoring higher. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because the game also gives you a bunch of rewards anyway. So you don't need to really worry about it too much. But if you really enjoy like 3 characters that you've seen in synergies or around Shibuya, that like you really want to use on a team and they have like the versions that you can unlock, then put them on the team and just go from there. As far as I know, so far in the game, there is only one quote-unquote required team, and even then, I think with some characters coming out soon, you don't need to have like a required character or anything. Yeah, no, and you can clear all the content like pretty easily. But I think it's good. I think what I will say is the pros is that you can take your time with it. You don't have to feel rushed going through the game. And Blaze, the characters, like I don't want to sort of the side stuff. I really recommend just seeing the side content yourself if you can. The main story, just telling you right now, the main story that's currently in the game sucks. It's terribly written. It's not super interesting. But once the scenario writer, because from Palace 3 onwards, you have the actual scenario writer for Persona 5 Royal, the story gets better after the second Palace. So if you hate the story, just bear with it until that next update happens where Palace 3 drops. Then the story gets better. But all the side character stories, I personally really like, and I think they're really, really cool. Dating characters in the game. This movie to where I left off. Fair. You can date characters and you can date multiple characters in P5X similar to all the other Persona games. There is no real penalty for dating multiple characters in the game. But if you want to unlock all the rewards, there is an item that's planned on being released soon that you spend with in-game yen that you can switch back and forth to being either close friends or dating. And you can just keep switching back and forth if you want to get all the rewards. Transparency's sake, I'm currently dating one character in the game. And I got a specific scene that happens if you try to hang out with them. And I thought it was the most amazing thing ever. So that's pretty cool. And also the synergies are way more expansive than you think. What I hope they do is they add some of like the idols that are in the game. They add like them, they have synergies of their own. But you'll discover who those like synergies exactly are as you play through the game. So if there's a character that you're like, I've never seen this person before, but I'm apparently using them, you will meet them in due time. I think the only cons is if you rush through the game, you're going to feel kind of empty at the end and you're going to feel like pressed for trying to get everything done. And if you really care about events, you might feel like pressured to speed through the events and feel bad if you miss them. Do not feel bad if you miss any event. You can actually replay some of the old events right now. There's a button in the game that you can actually switch to experience the old event story and get the achievements related to it. You just don't get like the temporary game like rewards or whatever, the FOMO rewards. But that doesn't matter because the game also now, after a lot of pushback from the global audience, it does give you a whole lot of rewards to make up for it. And also for transparency's sake, I have spent a little bit of money on the game. I do have all but one character in the game. And currently level 72. And after like the rates have been fixed and we are getting like some more rewards, I currently have about 6,000 gems stockpiled. So I think I could do about 50 or 60 pulls when the next banner comes out. And I do play quite a bit of gacha games. Ray, I would love to get back into Grand Blue Fantasy. I don't have the time, especially with the fact that I'm wanting to make content and focusing on that, of course, with Derpy and Neko. Once I have the time, and if I end up losing the job I'm at right now, then, you know, I guess I'll have the time. But as far as gacha games go, I currently play Nikke still, Blue Archive, and P5X. And with Nikke, I am currently the leader of a top 3% global union, which 3% to most people might be like, that's not 1% though. 3% on fucking global with our group is incredible. And we are a really strong team. Funny enough, Blaze, you know Snivy. Snivy actually just rejoined us recently. So, yeah, we're doing pretty good there. Blue Archive, I play that purely on my own. I'm literally in a union, it's a club, I guess, in that game, just by myself. So that's amusing. I just skip past the penguins because I'm not paying attention. But I am consistent. It's funny, in that game I'm consistently right below the diamond rank, which is the highest rank for all the raids. I just barely miss out on diamond rank, but I have pretty good units there. And then I am currently pretty good with you want to play Grand Blue Fantasy? Okay, you gotta elaborate on that one, Blaze. Do you want to play Grand Blue Fantasy the mobile game, or do you want to play Grand Blue Fantasy the fighting game, or do you want to play the Monster Hunter Essential version of the game? I would assume Relink. I'm assuming, Blaze, you're talking about Relink, which is like the Monster Hunter-esque sort of game, which that game is incredible, and I really want to play it again and actually like make videos on it. Derpy, I'll talk to you about that later. Yeah, I need to, once again, my list of games that I want to make videos on it grows quite a bit, so yeah. Yeah, I'm hoping, like, there's a good modding scene for quite a few games that like I do want to do videos of like the base game of like 100%ing, but also some of the mods, just showing them off too. But yeah, have I tried the Sky Trails demo? I have not. I've heard about it. I've never played any of those games in that series, but it looks very interesting. Also, Derpy, you don't happen to have a gold Magnemite or a Johto Sneasel that's pink, do you? Just to speed this up. I don't want to be here grinding forever, but like these are mostly just chatting streams. Like I'm not really... You're not, as the title suggests, you're not here to watch the shiny hunting, because that's the boring part. You're here for the kit talking, the cat in the top left talking, and Neko just sleeping on stream. Want a starting point? Sky Trails. Yeah, no, I've seen it. I need to. I'll add that to my list, Bellakun. I'm slowly making like a list that is getting larger and larger on just how I want to like get some content created. I know you don't have them at the moment. I'm just messing with you. There's always a chance because I think Grand Blue, I know Fantasy Life is on there, Ray. It is. Doge has a bunch of games. Right now my focuses are Hades, this game, and Dead by Daylight, so I can get the footage at least all put together. I want to say that Relink itself is done, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're making more games in the Grand Blue Fantasy series. Just my hunch. Because Relink was very, very popular. Versus is popular. And currently it's still making like ridiculous amounts of money for the mobile app, so... Derpy, I'm still in heavy debt. So I'll just go into further debt. It's fine, I'll join you. No. It's fine. Like I said, that's why I'm also like looking around jobs and stuff. And if there's something that I can either get paid better or if I'm just gonna have to take the risk with content, which is seeming what it's looking like, so. The download demo's free and your progress carries over. I've always been wary about the progress carrying over stuff for demos because I feel like I'm never going to remember what I did in the beginning, especially with all the games that I play. But I think it's already on my wish list on Steam, so I could just get it when it comes out. I've yet to even find time to play Relink. There's so many games out. There are quite a lot of games out. So... Yeah, Blaze, I don't know if you heard or if it was like the ad. I am at the dental office still. However, it is atrocious right now. Like really bad. To the point where Monday, or no, more so Friday, I almost walked out. Monday, I merely had a meltdown. And then today, I walked in and 30 minutes later after having a conversation, I just wanted to walk out again. So... like, I'm not having the best of luck, as it were. Or co-op for story stuff? True. I think it's good. It's not bad. I bust my ass, but I'm the bottom of the totem pole by a long shot, so it's pretty bad. Also, I need to be in the... think I need to also figure out if I need to move eventually. I need to figure out specifics, because right now, like I said, my weirdly last ditch effort, because it's the thing I've been having a lot of fun with, was writing scripts and coming up with ideas for content. I'm kind of just doing my last ditch of like, yeah, I could just get this out, and if it doesn't, you know, it's my final hurrah, as it were. But since Doge and Allie are in the process of getting married, I can't be in this house forever, obviously. And I don't want to go back to my parents, obviously, because that's just hell waiting to happen. But I'm also in massive debt because bills and medical shit and me just not being good with money. So man, nothing lucky. But I got ideas. I got ideas. So I'm lucky I have people who are offering to help out, and I want to make sure they're at least covered too. So, you know, I was considering moving to one of my old coworkers a few years back told me about like potentially moving to Montana, because he said he lived there. His rent, even like after everything was raising, was like $500. But the downside is like once you got snowed in, you were stuck, and you could play a shit ton of games, cool, but you were like stuck there for like a month or so. And I was like, man, that sounds great. How did work go? And there's just like, well, I worked from home, so I still got paid. I was like, that sounded like a life. Why'd you move away? He just wanted to be with people, which I was like, that's fair. I don't know. I need to get lucky with a job at this point again. Once again, more than 12 jobs. I think it's like 15. I want to say the number is 15. If I wrote them all down, I'm pretty sure that the amount is 15 jobs. And the fact that I'm usually only ever there for like 1 to 2 years. Some have been a few months, but like most are like 1 to 2 years is like insane. I also don't want to have to work like 3 jobs just to stay afloat nowadays. The problem is a lot of places in the past, you know, people having like 2 or 3 jobs is like normal. It shouldn't have been, but like it was normal. And now you have nowadays like if you have a second job and like your primary job finds out, they're like, "Nah, we don't stand for this." And like you'll just lose the first job because you're supposed to devote all your time to it. But if people are gonna like pay bills and stay afloat, you need to have something, right? Well, I remember seeing an article way back when there was like a boss who said they fire any person that has 2 jobs, and their argument was they're not going to be working at the best like they could be if they're stressing over 2 jobs, so they need to really focus on one. But the coworkers that are like the employees that they fired, when they were interviewed, they were just like, well, I need to make money somehow, and even though this person's wage is pretty good that they're giving us, I still need to like make other ends meet. And it's like, yeah. Oh, you know the article I'm talking about? Yeah. So it's like I understand both sides. That's why I'm always just like I would only just work the one job. But I understand like with the situation that I'm in, oh man, I am like I would probably need like 2 or 3 jobs, but then I probably wouldn't live past like 32, 33 because I'd be stressed and not sleeping. Like y'all would not see me again until like 2028, and by that point it'll be like My health has failed. I got out of debt, but my health is like gone through the shitter because I work 3 jobs and I've like been on 2 hours of sleep every single day. I did great, and then just fucking pass. Like, that would suck. I work 2 jobs with today's economy. I'm blessed. Fair. I had a patient the other day who was like swearing up and down that if we tough it out for the next 4 to 5 years, like the bubble will burst and then money will be back in the hands of the hardworking folk. And I just kind of looked at her like, huh, I remember somebody telling me this a few years ago, and they were wrong. Huh. Where's is enough if you don't make a decent amount per hour? You have to increase the hours you work. You want to be stressed and pay bills. Yeah, you have to. That's the thing, is you kind of have to pick and choose your stress, is what it feels like at that point. Like, that's my take, is like, you have to pick and choose your stress. If you're stressed about being broke and having to pay bills, then does getting more jobs fix that, or does that mean you move the stress to now I have to work 2 jobs efficiently? And am I even going to get out of this debt? Right? And then it's like, am I meeting my quotas with my new job, with my jobs? Am I falling behind? It is all about stress management and just being frank. People this day of age, and I know myself included, but it's a lot of people this day and age, we don't know how to manage stress properly. That's really the long and short of it. You can be like, yeah, you know, I'll break free the stress of being broke, and I'll just like have my stress only be a job, but I'll at least no longer be broke. Sounds good in theory, but most people, like, they just don't know how to manage their stress, so they just freak out and shit hits the fan. Really? You? Get over here. Get over here. Get over here. Buddy. You're like the 3rd one of these I've caught. Like, please, just stand still. Yeah, it's just, most people this day and age, they really don't know how to manage their stress, and that's just gonna cause more harm than good. If people did, that sucks. Okay, that was good. If people did know how to like manage their stress levels and like know how to manage like having 2 jobs, I think it would be a different story. Unfortunately, that's not the case, and people are just extremely bad, and then they start blaming each other, or they start blaming family or friends or what have you, and they don't want to take accountability of like what they, you know, what they're going through. They just want to like shove it off to somebody else. And I know with my stress, like, excuse me, I talk a lot. With me being stressed about being broke, I've kind of just like accepted that's just an inevitability at this point. I'm trying not to go deeper into being broke, but I also know with what I want, my dream, the dream that I have in my life, for me to accomplish it, I know I need to spend money in order to make it happen. So if it's going to put me even in a little bit more debt as a result, I'm fine with it, because it's getting me closer to my dream. If the dream is a bust and I go like super broke because of it, I at least can say that I tried. And that's why I don't have too much stress anymore about being broke. Sure, bills can be scary. I have 2 medical bills sitting right next to me right now that I need to follow up on. And frankly, I just haven't, because I'm waiting till Friday when I get paid so I can just kind of budget it properly. But like that's not where my stress is, because I know how to go about it, and I'm making sure that like I'm in communication with like what bills are owed, so that way I'm keeping up with it. However, my stress 1000% lies in the one job that I have, which is I work at a dental office. I'm, for lack of a better term, and for just not wanting to fully explain the intricacies of the job, I'm pretty much a glorified receptionist. However, the reason why that entire job is just filled with stress compared to me not being stressed about being broke is because I'm essentially the person to blame for everything. Like, stuff's not getting done, it's probably Kit. Oh, Kit's already done with everything? Still blaming. Oh, you know, no one wants to work, like, manager doesn't want to work? Kit will do it. Oh, Kit probably might not know how to do his job. Let's explain everything into him and keep reminding him in like 3 minutes. When I already did it. Like, that's what gets me stressed, is you don't trust me to do the job that I very clearly am experienced for and know how to do. It gets me stressed. Having to take care of work for just by myself for a few days, getting everything caught up and feeling pretty good about it, only for somebody to come back and just be like, meh, I can push this off for like another few days. Kit can do it. Like, it stresses me out. Because it's like, I don't have, what support? What is getting things done? I know that people I work with have personal stuff that they have to take care of, but you're at work. Just focus on the work, get it done. Once it's done, it's a breath of fresh air. If you need me to help, tell me how I can help. Don't just say, not gonna do it. Kit can take the fall for it, it's fine. When I'm sitting right there. Like, that's what stresses me out. It's why I come home and I want to stream and I want to work on making content and talking with Neko about editing scripts and talk to Derpy about editing videos. And I want to sit down and with the multiple scripts I have written out now. I've sent Neko 2, there's 4 right now. And I want to record the audio for it. I want to, you know, be awake and get this all done. But the stress of being this fall person and that my work kind of sees me as this disposable person, it gets to me. And while I do think I can handle the stress in a pretty good way, maybe there's probably a way that I can do it that's even better. Unfortunately, I've had, once again, somewhere around 15 jobs, probably more, and this happens quite a lot. And that's when you look for another job. Completely understand. Absolutely agree. However, this is not the first time this has happened. This is probably like 7 or 8. So then you're not even, and then it's not even stress at that point of looking for a new job sort of situation. If this was like the first or second time it's happened, oh, easy. Look for another job and, you know, go from there. Things will be fine. But it's the consistency at what this happens, because then you start doubting yourself. Then you start wondering, wait, am I really the problem? Am I doing something wrong? Maybe I am the piece of shit. Maybe I'm the one who's the lowest totem rung, and maybe things aren't getting done even though I am getting my work done and I have the paperwork to prove it. Maybe it is me. And when it's, you know, around 7 or 8 times where that happens, you really start doubting yourself. You're not stressing from it, you doubt it. And you're wondering if when you look for another job, is it going to be the same thing? My current job has asked me numerous times if I ever want to be a manager. I have manager credentials. I have experience. One of my former jobs was being an office manager. And I ran a team for a fair bit. One of my longer jobs. And while there were ups and downs for it, I did it once. Don't want to do it again right? But that one, I understood why I was the fall person for that. I was the manager. I had to be on top of it and make sure. I'm not even the manager in most of these jobs that I've worked, and I'm the fall person. If they have me be the manager, now I'm not even the lowest rung of being the fall person. I'm the top rung and still the fall person. And that will get that. Don't inform itself as stress. And I do agree. Yeah, that is, and I will say that it is a form of stress. I think in my mind, I kind of separate the two in this, but yeah. But yes, if this was like the first or second time that this has happened where I just get, you know, slandered and just pushed as like the reason why things are failing, then okay, you know, maybe they're just getting their woes pushed off on me and it's my fault. And maybe they're right. And it's just like, okay. But like, I think I was doing things okay and I move on, find a new job, and then it gets better. But there comes a point where a doubt does creep in and you just get worried, you get scared, you wonder if you do find another job, is it going to be the same thing? And every job I've worked, I'm going to toot my own horn here. It kind of hard to like follow up and be like, you should talk to these people to just verify, but like it's not anyone's real business to like dive into my work life. But as a worker, I do believe I do kick butt with all the jobs I've ever done. I've worked my hardest. I do try to do the best I can for the team, put forth suggestions to how the business I work for, how it can improve. I do think I'm a consistently good worker. But I think I'm always, and I tell myself this every time, I think I'm just way too nice of a person. It means I get walked over on really easily at work. And while customers, patients, members, they all enjoy me, love talking to me, will keep coming back just to continue seeing me, the people I work with, for walking over me, can just, you know, do that, and it just sucks. There's somebody at work pissing on people to do that and sucks. Yeah. And once again, I have been looking for another job. My parents have given me not the greatest recommendations. They sent me a application for a. Are they a company? I don't know if they're technically a company. I immediately said no and actually completely removed the message. But it's a form of water, is what the company name is. Or the corporation, or the group. Don't really know how else to describe it. But if you know, and you're in the US, you know. And I want y'all to know that I'm sane and I said no immediately. Now I could also work downtown from where I live. That would be another option. However, that downtown where I am is not necessarily a safe place, especially for the jobs that are hiring down there, where you will just get harassed nonstop. There's a reason why the turnover rate for a lot of downtown jobs is so high, and I've looked into it. It is most definitely because of all of the harassment from what goes on downtown. So most of my jobs would either be heading to a bigger city, which is like a 45-minute to hour and a half drive, depending on how bad traffic is here, or finding something local that at least is decent paying. Which, you know, based on what me looking, I would have to take like a $4 pay cut for a lot of the stuff I've been finding, which is not entirely feasible with like the bills and stuff. It's why we take the risks around here. And please don't get it wrong. I'm not here just to continue to complain. I'm not trying to say, kid's life sucks. Let me just complain for like 3 hours or so every time I stream and just make a scene and just be like kind of a whining little bitch baby. Like, that's not what I'm trying to do at all. This is just my experience. I do want to build myself back up. There's a reason why I'm really, really focusing on this goal. And I know I'm the reason why I got myself. I am the reason why I'm in the situation that I'm in. The only one who's really going to be able to help me get out of it is myself. And I know throughout the times whenever it gets brought up, like how bad my dad is or like what's brought up to it, like, I don't want to throw the number around. It's a lot. I'm just going to say that. But I never am asking anybody to be like, yeah, help me out, donate. There's a reason why I think the donation links and all that sort of stuff is like hidden nowadays, is because I want to do this myself rather than like, I don't know. It's a weird way to put it. I know I want to get myself out of it. My parents have actually kept telling me that I also should like apply for like bankruptcy or something like that, which is not a smart decision for a multitude of reasons. I didn't mean to save, but it's a good thing that we're still just going to be doing stuff around here. So, but I do want to prove, somewhere in the back of my mind, I do want to prove to them that I can get myself out of this. And simultaneously show that I don't have to work, 2 to 3 jobs just to make it work. But if it does get dire enough to where like I have to just stop everything and just take a completely obscene amount of jobs, and so be it. Parents don't seem to be giving you the best advice. Yeah. Sleepyhead over here would agree with you there. Why not bankruptcy? The 2 biggest reasons for the bankruptcy part, I wouldn't be able to live where I live right now with Doge, which yes, I do know like in a year time I'm gonna have to like move out of here because of like Doge and Ellie being married. Like I get that, completely understandable. But if I were to file for bankruptcy, then I am fully like, I have to be out of the house. Like, according to like the contract and such, like I can't be here if I like file for bankruptcy. Which means the second part of that means I have to move back in with my parents and my brothers. And currently, all except for one of my brothers still lives with my parents. 3 out of the 4 of them that are there, 3 of my brothers have no interest in moving out. 1 is in college now, and he sounds like he's doing well, so we're hoping for good news there. I know both of my parents are very unhappy with how they have 3 adult children just living with them and have no interest in like moving out. And I don't want them to have to deal, 1, with a 4th, but also 2, have to go back and just kind of admit to them that I'm a failure, right? And even with them giving me the advice to go bankrupt, I feel like they don't realize that that means either I move back in with them or I'm living in a box on the side of the road until I, build myself up back from the bootstraps. You know? And I know for a fact that they don't want me to like my dad was a little like irked that I left because he thinks that it would have been a lot better if for me to get out of debt if I lived with them. The problem is living with them made both of them very angry. My brothers didn't want me to be there, and I get angry with them because none of them have any interest in actually leaving. They're just doing the bare minimum to just live, and fucking Arizona rent and such is like so cheap compared to like everywhere else. So like I don't understand why it's like such a hard thing. But also, they like to keep telling me, well, my mom will continually tell me that, one, I need to stop streaming, two, I need to sell my computer, and three, that that I should believe her when she says that Doge and Allie are just using me, and that I don't have any actual friends. You know, that's hard to hear. My dad, on the other hand, he's been a lot more, you know, for my back. He really supports the streams lately. He lurks. I'll talk to my mom every now and again, and she will usually just get angry at me after like 2 or 3 messages. It's just how it is. Every time I talk with him, though, he's at least been super supportive of the streams. He's encouraging me to keep going. He says that he hopes that I make my dream a reality, but I also know that he is potentially going through some hard stuff right now that I don't entirely want to talk to because I don't know 100% if it's true. So we'll have to see. Well, I guess I will see later. Oh, hi. Yeah. I always will say it's a good thing I got out of that household. And I do want to pay Doge and Allie back for all the kindness that they've shown me for just being here and being allowed to live here for the past 2 years and probably for like one more year or so. But I feel bad that like I've just stagnated with trying to get out of debt. And to be fair, I was doing really, really good until the whole throat surgery thing and gum surgery happened. Like that really kind of shot me in the foot. Metaphorically speaking, of course. Because you know, the first one I just didn't want to die. Well, originally, just clarity's sake, when it first happened, I didn't care. And then Doge and Allie were like, you're gonna live. And then I agreed that I didn't want to pass at that point. Can I make it here in time? Let's see if I can. What happened to my gums? So, obviously I work at a dental office, as I've mentioned before, and we do have a gum specialist or a periodontist who comes in every now and again. While I'm pretty good with brushing, because I drink like a whole lot of energy drinks and coffee, I know my teeth aren't like the greatest. So I was referred to a periodontist just because like there's just some like concerning results. Usually some of the tests that they do, right? So I had a consult with him a few weeks ago now. Pretty sure it's a few weeks ago now. And he took a look at the chart, took a look at the x-rays, and essentially some of my molars on my left side were not only like not the cleanest, but they were also like having bone loss and starting to sag. So it kind of had to rebuild it back up and also like add more bone there so that way I actually can chew properly. And it's a matter of I need to do it, or 5-10 years from now I'll loop, if I'm still around, I lose those molars. So I'm down like I'm down to like one molar, or maybe like just my premolars on my left side of my face. And extractions look awful. And also, I want to try to keep my teeth as best as possible. So it wasn't even more of like a scare thing. I've heard about this numerous times just from obviously working there, but also talking with our periodontist a ton, just on the off chance, as well as our main dentist. Both had concerns. It was 2,000 some odd dollars. I don't remember the specifics. I think it was like 2,700. I think it was like $2,700. And I just looked at my bank account, saw zero. Looked at my credit card debt, I was like, meh. And I just paid it because I need it, you know? I'm not going to describe the surgery because fucking gnarly as shit. It is a crazy surgery. I will say, after like the full recovery and everything that I had from it, because it was like hard to talk and like was really aching for quite some time. Honestly, left side of my face feels amazing, like night and day difference in my eyes. However, I also know how much that surgery is normally, and that like that's pretty intense to me. Like, because obviously I'm getting like an employee sort of discount for like working there and like helping out with that, so that's why mine's like 2,700. But normally, just for like usually one to two teeth on like one side of the face, it's normally like 4.6K out of pocket normally. That's a pretty big number. And that's with insurance, by the way. If you're talking self-pay, I don't want to depress you with self-pay. It's worse. Ghost surgery I think about again was laser eye. Yeah, I was also considering getting laser eye surgery. That's not gonna work. Excuse me. I know I need to. I haven't been to a vision doctor in a while. An optician, excuse me. Just because affording it's hard when you just had throat surgery to save your life, and then gum surgery to save your teeth. Once again, please, if you're hearing this also like for the first time, please don't like be like, oh, poor Kits, woe was Kits. I'm doing fine. Yeah, I might not be doing well financially, but like, whatever. I'm alive. That's what matters. Because like I said, if I, especially with that like throat surgery that I had, if I didn't get that throat surgery, y'all, I wouldn't be streaming right now. I wouldn't be here right now without that. I'd have been dead in bed. To be fair, at that time that all happened, I was in a terrible headspace and just wanted it over. Just because of how everything just was crumbling at the seams at that point. Obviously, glad to be here. Glad I didn't, you know, just let it happen. But, it's dark times. Dark times indeed. So this is what you get at the Kit streams. You just get just the real shit every time. I'm not gonna bullshit you. I'm not gonna just be like, we're gonna talk about sunshine and rainbows all the time. Like, I'm telling you my life. I'm telling you, you know, things will get better. You can always work through things. I want to be proof of that, that like you can work through it and things will get better. But at the same time, like, helping with, you know, the experiences that I've had, and if it helps somebody, sick. But I'm also not like therapist. I'm not a psychologist. And obviously there's probably different ways of handling different things. Like that you're optimistic. Blaze, you've known me for a while. I think you've always known that I'm optimistic about everything. Even if I go to a new job and I've, you know, have to keep going through this constant I wouldn't say tirade. That's not the right word. Constant just fear of like, maybe I'm the reason, I'm truly am the reason of why things are happening like they are. At the end of the day, I'm still going to give it my all and still going to just keep myself around and do what I can. And who knows, maybe some of the stuff that I've gone through helps somebody out and, you know, does some good. But also at the end of the day too, I just want to, you know, mix of helping people out with like, with the games that they play, while also at the same time, wanting to make people, you know, happy and smile. Which I know most of what I talk about, probably not the most happy things to talk about. Probably. But, you know, I'm going to keep it real. Like I said, I'm not going to just try to wistfully talk about sunshine and rainbows and homies shitting, like, goddamn, like, colors out of their ass. Like, everything is all hunky-dory. Because then at that point, you're just kind of clouding yourself with, like, false platitudes. And I think this might just be a Kit hot take. Random Kit hot take. I think those type of people who, like, surround themselves with the false, like, positive affirmations and just platitudes are truly unhappy. And just hide it through that sort of stuff. And the people who are super receptive to it are also pretty much just mirroring the same thing. Because I know for me personally, the times I'm happy are when I'm hanging out with friends, I'm seeing my friends rock at what they're doing, and then streaming. Like, those are like I guess you can rope in the first one into like the same thing, so it's two things. Third thing would be writing. Okay, hold on. There's a third thing, it's writing. So there's your three. And some people have more, some people have less, but that's what makes me happy. Like I said, Neko, who is now asleep in this call. Just that's the random noises you sometimes hear. Neko's been killing it on Twitch with streams and is also in the process of making content. Blaze streaming on Twitch, reacting to a whole bunch of stuff over on YouTube. There's a Naruto reaction I think he just recently did. Because I think it's from the Naruto Shippuden game. Not so much the anime, I think it's just the Shippuden game, if I recall correctly. But Blaze has been killing it lately and just keeping up with the positivity, having a good time. Also did a reaction to Uma Musume recently, like, doing well. Like, it makes me happy seeing my friends, like, actually doing well. And I may not talk to some of my friends for a long period of time, I'm horrible at keeping in contact. That's just the general kit thing. But I still always like keep tabs just to make sure that they're doing okay. I'm also extremely bad at talking, but yeah, I still check in with some friends from back in Arizona to see how they're doing. And even though I'm not there and I haven't talked to them in a hot second, you know, even the one of my friends who I haven't talked to now in like 3 or 4 years, they just opened like their own. If I recall correctly, opened their own dog shelter that's doing really successfully in Canada, I believe. Them and their partner like just opened. I think it was a dog kennel or shelter for like homeless dogs. If I could do anything to support my friends, I always, I know there's always the saying is like you need to put yourself first before your friends, but I'm always the person putting my friends out there before myself. Like it's why the other day I was about to donate quite a bit of money to nice in a different country. Yeah, definitely different country than where I am. That's for sure. Yeah, because they also got rid of stuff. A few close friends each week. Yeah, this is reminding me I have to reach out to my German friend. Probably will in the next few days, just to touch base with them, see how they're doing. And you know, it's hard when like to talk to like everybody, right? Everyone's got a lot of stuff going on, and sometimes they just can't get back to you. But and also, like I said, I'm open about the fact that I don't watch like everything that my friends do. Like I don't watch all of Neko streams. I don't watch all of Blaze's content and such. Most of the reason is because either they're playing a game that I'm about to play myself or that I want to play myself and I don't want to be like any sort of spoiled. But I still will just go over there and just, you know, give a like over on YouTube, support best I can. There's probably more that I could do when watching spoil stuff. I know, I just want to do what I can. Because I know, like Ray deserves the best. I know Derpy, Blaze, with how kind you've been to me throughout just all the years you've known me. Like, I really hope for the best for you, and I want you to succeed. Bar none, I really, really want you to succeed in all that you do. Like, truthfully, you've known I've said this before, like, you are one of my biggest inspirations for even continuing to stream and wanting to make content, you know? Like, just the infectious, like, positive personality, just constant smiles, like, I still reflect on the time back when the 2018 like E3 stuff, like some of the fucking most fun I've had hanging out with somebody ever. Well, he's the one who got me to enjoy sushi. Like, miss those times for sure. But he was with all my friends, but you know, I want y'all to succeed, and that's why like put aside money and such just to make sure I can help support whenever I can, even if it's, you know, sure, a detriment to me. If it helps y'all succeed, I will do what I can. You know, it's thinking more about it too. I think probably part of the reason why I'm like this is because I'm so used to. I don't mean to diss my parents like a lot of this. It's just how I've kind of seen how everything was when I was growing up, where they always had this general idea that like people use each other, people would use me, people are inherently evil and everything. And while there's probably a lot of people who fit those bills, I always wanted to break the stigma that, like, you know, there are good people out there that deserve the best, that work hard to make their dreams a reality. I want to be one as well. I've talked about that earlier this stream. And if I can do anything in my power to do it, even, as I said, even if it's a detriment to myself, good people deserve to continue to grow and reach their goals. And I want to help push that forward. The caveat of that, of course, and I've heard it numerous times before, is, but Kit, you're in debt. You probably shouldn't put yourself further in debt helping. Appreciate the support, but, like, take care of yourself. But a beaten, battered, and bruised person like myself is really hard to focus on myself. I guess that's why I focus on others, and I realize when I talk about the contents, like, the me part of it is, you know, my joy of writing and hopefully just, you know, be helping alleviate some of my debt. But I always end up talking about the fact that I want to make people smile and help people out and help other people out with what I want to do. It's like I said, with like the whole 100% idea stuff that I have. I'm just realizing that my kind of crux of the content I want to make is all for others rather than just myself. I think that makes sense. I'm kind of just rambling on is how I'm at. This is the point where you see like a hydrate thing happen. However, I'm out of water. So I should probably grab something to drink, but I'm also probably ending off the stream relatively soon. Just because I do have to be up in like 5 hours or so. We have made no progress today, though. let it be known, with what I'm doing, no progress has been made. At all. So that's fun. Well, like I said, these Arceus streams, you're not here for the shiny hunts. And if you're here for shiny hunts and overall reactions, I mean, let's just be real. Y'all just watch me mindlessly, like, catch a few shinies and just not question it. Not at all. Like, just be like, yep, got it, peace, deuces. Moved on. I truly think y'all are probably more so here just to hear me talk about whatever the heck. We started talking about games, comparing Shiny to the Gachas, Persona 5, and now we're talking about the intricacies of a Kit life. It seems people are still here, wanting to listen, so appreciate y'all for listening. I'm pretty sure hardly anyone's here just to shiny hunt watch. You don't understand how people find shinies? I mean, I can explain it. In most Pokemon games, they just essentially do the same thing over and over and hope that the randomness of the game will give them a shiny. It could take 5 minutes. It could take 50 hours. It's all purely random. You could say that, like, the odds, you can beat the odds of it or anything. It's all code, video game luck. It just comes down to if you get lucky or not. And it's just doing the same thing over and over. For reference's sake, this place, right? I load in, I go from this camp to this ruins. I checked these 6 unknown that are in here. There's a chance that one of them make a shiny sound. There's not. There's a random chance that one of those could have been blue instead of black. Didn't happen. If I rinse repeat and do it 4,000 more times, eventually maybe one of them would be. If I'm extremely unlucky, maybe none of them would be. We do another 4,000. It's just mindless repetition. And when people freak out and get super excited over a shiny, if you're seeing a reaction on YouTube, I'm going to be real, I'm a pessimist in this instance. It's probably fake. There's no reason to be that excited for a shiny. It is a palette swap. No other bonuses. However, if you spent, like, say, 50 hours trying to get the same shiny over and over again, and you finally got it after 50, that cry of relief might not be so much a fake, like, reaction, as it is just a sigh of relief that it's finally over. But there's no point to getting shiny Pokemon. There's no real goal to getting shiny Pokemon. It is a palette swap that you will see at the end of the game, and you will put it in a box for it never to be used again. I never understood shiny reactions either, Blaze. There's a reason why I will constantly make fun of anybody who does shiny reactions or pops off on a shiny. I even made fun of myself a few times because I have reacted with surprise a few times for shinies, specifically because of the difficulty it is to even catch the Pokemon in the first place. For reference, Basculin, those fish that I keep trying to find over here, why I keep going over there, they vanish just as quickly as you see them. So if you see a shiny, which I have reacted in shock when we find one, I have to react incredibly quick to even catch it. Otherwise I miss out on it. And because I'm wasting my time doing this, I don't want to waste my time any further than I need to. So, you know, that's why you get like a little surprise noise. But for like the 3 shinies we found in the same area, most people would try to make a 100,000 to 1 million view video of going over their like overblown shiny reaction because they got 3 shinies in the span of 3 minutes, and they'll scream their face off, they'll show themselves on face cam, they'll rip off their shirt, start crying or some shit. Like, nah, it's a palette swap. I don't care. Which of course then begets the question, if you're new here, it's a common question here for these RC streams. If you hate shinies as much as you do, which I do, and also think it's a waste of time, then why are you doing it? Are you trying to capitalize on the shiny reaction views? No, I just told you that I don't even react to most of the shinies. I am doing this for a separate side reason that is in Legends Arceus that hardly anybody actually does. And because I have to grind all of my Pokemon to level 80 in order to do it, this just makes the most sense to grind Pokemon, while also at the same time, if I want to make a video, if I already have, you know, 90% of the shinies in the game, let's just get the rest of them cleared out, you know? What I'm doing this for is for a mode in this game called the Path of Solitude. They are puzzle battles. There is one for every single Pokemon in the game. You essentially do a 1v1 battle, and you have to solve the puzzle of how you defeat the Pokemon. The most well-known one, and this is one of the 2 that I know because I had to figure out how it specifically was going to be. You have a Magikarp. This good old golden boy right here has to fight a level 80-something Electrode who knows Explosion. You have to make sure this Magikarp survives 2 explosions in order to win. So you have to figure out how you do that. By the way, in case you're not a Pokemon fan and don't know too much, this motherfucker only knows Splash. So you have to figure out, how do you get that Magikarp to survive? There is a way. We just have to solve the puzzle. There is one for every single Pokemon in the game, so but the minimum requirement is the Pokemon has to be level 80 or so to even really be viable to solve the puzzle. Since I have to do the grind, and there's glitches that are associated with catching Pokemon that you can use to get a bunch of money to then the hardcore level, I figured it was just in a best interest to also just get them to be shiny, just to get it over and done with. Never seen a shiny Magikarp? Yeah, my entire party right now is of shiny Pokemon, just for reference's sake. And actually, since we're going to be ending off here relatively soon, because it's about to be 3 in the morning, I will show off what we're still looking for and why some of the Pokemon that I still need you have not seen in this general grind that I've been doing. I'm also going to make sure I get a glass of water after this. So these penguins, fun fact, the reason why we've been really only hunting these penguins is because I just need one of them to be shiny. We have been catching these penguins for the past 5 days. Just let it be known. Like, we've just not had any luck. Yeah, we've not had any luck. So, I have a spreadsheet as well that kind of breaks everything down. Also, I'm trying to get these shinies by any means necessary, so like, I'm allowing people to trade shiny Pokemon with me in order to just get this done faster. So, I'm not trying to get these all like, quote unquote myself. I'm just doing this to get through it. But I have them all ordered from their Pokedex number. I also just need to check something here. Cool. Rowlet, we are missing Rowlet, but I do have every other shiny here in this box, except for Eevee. We're mostly missing Eevee, Vaporeon, and Jolteon. Rowlet, you can get from that Coronet Highlands area. You saw me try to catch a few of those prior. Eevee, you probably have not seen at all today. Eevee can only be gotten in very few areas. There's an extremely rare chance that there is an outbreak that shows up that only has Eevee. We did not see that today. And there are these rare events every 5 minutes up to 40 minutes in each area called Space-Time Distortions, where Eevee can also spawn in. However, even though I'm pretty good at talking, I'd like to think, I don't think y'all want to just see my character stand still for 40 minutes waiting for something to pop up. So we're trying to get these a different way, but I'm more than welcome to trade to get them. On this page, the only one we're missing is Glaceon. Once again, another evolution. So the rest of these, of course, are shiny, and you can see them here. On this one, we have a lot of the Pokemon that are in my bag right now. We do not have a shiny Cherim. Involves some Cherubi. Once again, also has a very rare chance to show up in an outbreak and shows up on various trees. That is the reason why I've been hitting a lot of the trees in some areas, is because sometimes they show up there. It's just luck of the draw. On this page, I believe everything here is shiny. So they're all looking pretty good. This page also has everything shiny, and these Porygon, they have the green ball. Anything that's in a green ball is from a different game. And these three have all been from Derpy, who is in the Twitch chat. They got this from Scarlet or Violet, one of the two, and just traded them over. Are shinies even rare with how many people catch them? I would say no. They're a palette swap, and I don't think they've ever meant to be anything special except in the original games. Nowadays, I think they're a fun novelty, but it would be better if you use a shiny on an actual team when you're playing the game. If you're just doing it in the post game, you're wasting your time. I said this last stream, and I'll say this again while we're on this, looking at these shinies. If a shiny Pokemon actually had better stats, had always the best nature, and just was an overall better Pokemon than its regular counterpart, I would totally be fine with them being extremely rare, people actually hunting them down and everything to get, because then you're actually looking for a Pokemon that can be really, really good that you might want to use in a competitive edge. It gives it a reason for it to be rare rather than just a palette swap that, let's be real, 99% of shinies, I'm just throwing this number out there, but let's be real, is probably correct. 99% of shinies just stay in a box and never get used. They probably show up for like maybe one fight just on accident, and then they never get faced ever again. They never get shown. So there's no point. But I think people would actually use them and actually transfer them between games if they had just better stats and were overall like just a better form of their base form. Might be controversial opinion. But nowadays, once again, I'm just running in circles and I'm finding shinies. They're not hard to get. I'll show my extras here in a second. They're not hard to get by any means. Back in the day, they were. So I shrug my shoulders at this point. But like I said, for video purposes, and for Path of Solitude, because I have to grind anyway, that's why I'm getting all of them. Plus, I already had like 75% of them when I first started the idea, just by accident, more so. This is 151 through 180. With these penguins, I have 2 of the shiny penguins. We are just missing, it's the 3rd one, so that is one. You also may notice this Basculegion is not shiny. I do have a Basculin that's shiny. I just need to evolve it, but I need one more for its other variant. And then these Magnemite, or Magneton and Magnezone can only be gotten from space-time distortions, which once again, I'm not waiting around 40 minutes to do. On this screen, I just need a base Rotom. I have 5 shiny Rotom, and that's on a different page. I just need its base form. I do need a shiny regular Sneasel compared to this one. And then Cranidos, Rampardos, Shieldon, and on this page Bastiodon also are found from space-time distortions. However, are even more rare than like Eevee and Magnemite and Magneton. So we're just getting those from other games and moving from there. The legendaries, you cannot get shiny in this game. You have to grind them in a different game in order to get, except for Enamorus. You have to just move every Pokemon. You have to have one of every Pokemon caught in Legends Arceus to get a shiny Enamorus from Pokemon Home. The rest of these we might hunt just to fully say we did it. I could also just not care and just continue on. I don't know. We'll see. These 3 are legitimate shinies. You'll see that their trainer tag is Sum 2013. When I was a kid in 2013, my parents took me to GameStop for Pokemon Platinum, where they had a event where you hooked up to your mystery gift. They gave you a shiny level 100 Dialga, level 100 Palkia, and Giratina. That's where these are from. And then this is just our extras page, just some extra shinies, just to say that we caught all of them in case somebody wants to throw a fit. However, not all of these shinies are quote-unquote legitimate. A certain Kit who played a lot of DS games in Platinum, decided that he might invest in some hardware, and you might notice some Pokemon that have green balls that are from a Terran who, let's just say, didn't have the best interests in mind, and just wanted to play by their own rules when they did this. So there's that. Now something else to show is this box, as well as this box, as well as this box, as well as this box. are all of the extra shinies that I have, plus some Fiones, that I just have duplicates of that I don't really need. So, as you can see, there's just a ridiculous amount of shinies, and there's really no reason for it. But my goal right now is I just want to get through all of the what's the best way to put it? I mostly just want to get through getting all of the shinies from 1 to 30, just so that way I can record the Path of Solitude from with those Pokemon, get them out of the box, and then we can just kind of take it slow from there. However, there are days like today where we just don't get lucky enough and we don't get the shinies that we need, and that's perfectly fine. But I know I'll be trading with a few people, so that should help alleviate some of the difficulty with getting some of these shinies. So, but of course, if you have Pokemon Arceus and want to trade and want any of these shinies and you have one that I need, hey, I'm not going to complain. We had a guy trade me about 20 different shinies specifically for any shiny that was the color yellow. No, I'm not kidding. But it helped us quite a bit. So yeah, not too crazy of a day. So the big ones that I'm looking for though right now, just so that way we can get them out of the way, we're looking for Rowlet and then 4 EVs, so that way we can evolve them. So that's the plan. Anyway though, that's going to be it for the stream for tonight. I definitely need to go to sleep. Excuse me. Before I, pass out, and I have to also go to work tomorrow at a decent time, so fun stuff. I might take a break from Pokemon Arceus tomorrow. I know I've been kind of grinding this game quite a bit the past few days, specifically because I want to get through this like really fast. We might do some Dead by Daylight because there was a cool update that happened yesterday that I might want to show off, or we might do Hades just to get some stuff marked off on that list, so we'll see. But I'm also at work really late, so it just depends on what I feel like. With that being said, I thank you all so much for watching. Neko is asleep in the call still, but thank you to Neko earlier for being here, or at least commentary in the beginning. And I thank you all so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed the stream and all the random talking and everything that was, talked about. I'm looking forward to the future. I got a whole bunch of ideas, and I hope you all are excited for it. And I hope you all are excited for more streams and more fun stuff. And Ray, I also have to touch base with you about stuff too. There's so much to talk about. Anyway, with that being said, excuse me. Thank you all so much for watching, both on YouTube and Twitch. Y'all have a wonderful day, night, morning, afternoon, and or evening. Of course, my name is Gitafi, and I'll see y'all next time for some more variety gaming. See y'all later. Peace. Bye, everyone.